Welcome to Financial Insider Weekly. I'm your host, Michael Gray, CPA. My guest today is an attorney here in San Jose. His name is John Hopkins, and John is one of the founders for one of our major law firms in town, Hopkins & Carley, a professional law corporation. And anyway, John is, as far as I'm concerned, is not just an attorney. So John is a mentor and a role model. He's been a long-time lawyer in our community, but we all look at him as a leader and a source of a lot of wisdom. So John, thank you for being with me today. I'm very honored to have you with me.
Well, thank you. You set the bar kind of high here.
Well, it's not too hard to do that. Anyway, as you can maybe be able to tell, John's been with us for a while, again, a leader in our community. And so he's actually getting into a little bit of the step retirement phase. And so John has been actively promoting community giving as a family value. And so that is what we're going to be talking about today.
Good.
And I think that John's message is especially appropriate for the holiday season. But of course, we want to keep that giving spirit all year long. Anyway, we just really want to give some appreciation for giving in our community. That's what we're talking about today. And I like doing it at the holiday season. Okay, so John, you've been promoting the idea of thinking of the community or charities as one of your children when making your estate plan. So why should I treat my community as one of my children in that process?
The premise of that is that you can leave a lot of money to your children, and if they're living in a community that is not healthy, they will not be happy with no matter how much money they have. We went through a period, I don't hope it never comes back, where people were considering having to send their children to private schools, living in gated communities, having security people take their children to and from schools. You can't get enough money to feel secure in an unsecure community. And so the richness of this community that we live in is that there are a lot of people that contribute their time and their money to community organizations, whether they're doing like the Sacred Heart Community Services that provides food and other services for people that are down and out, or the arts, the repertory theater or the opera. All of those are supported by donor funds.
Yes.
So, and that's what makes the community rich. But people spend most of their time thinking about what their children need and what they would like them to have. And I say, wouldn't you like them to have a nice community? And so that follows that then give some to your children and some to your community.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, now, let's see, are there any other reasons, particularly, I guess, as the lessons that we want to teach to our children, grandchildren?
Certainly, people when they're, at least I've discovered for myself as well as others, when you're getting up there and you have grandchildren, and I began to realize that my main legacy to the world is embodied in my children and grandchildren, and what they're going to do, and that. And I would like families to start educating their children about community affairs. One way to do that is to get involved themselves, and so their children know, and they see them, and they know the causes they're involved with, and they recognize that that's a value in their parents. A lot of parents never talk to their children about what they're supporting. I've had clients who knew their parents gave lots of money to things, and they said that they don't know what they gave to. They never talk to them about that. And that's a shame. It's something you need to pass on to your children and let them know you believe in this.
Yes. Okay, good. Thanks for that. All right. So how can you teach these values to your children during your lifetime?
Well, there are a number of ways you can do it. It takes some discipline. We're all trying to discipline our children.
In a different sort of way.
We have to discipline ourselves, and to making occasions to talk about this. Certainly Thanksgiving is a great time to do it. The holidays that follow, so again, a giving season.
Yes.
And one technique that can be used is to, I know we've done this with our children on occasion, and we said, don't buy us any gifts. Mm-hmm. It's going to be difficult for you to go out and buy something that we don't need, mm-hmm. But you want to show that you care about your parents and so forth. But better to, we made an agreement, don't buy us gifts, and we won't buy you gifts. We will make donations to community organizations instead. Mm-hmm. And then we can sit down at our holiday dinner and discuss what organizations we gave to and how and why. Mm-hmm. And that again sort of shifts the spirit, mm-hmm. Or invokes the spirit of giving, yes. As distinguished from the inevitable holiday spirit of receiving, and what opening your presents and being happy or disappointed, or it doesn't reach down to the giving part of us. It's the receiving part that, and so that's one way of doing it.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, can you explain a little bit about the old-time philosophy about how to use a family allowance related to teaching community giving?
Well, I think it's a very honorable tradition that's discussed. I've never used it, and I don't know anybody else who has, but it's a great idea that 1/3 for yourself and 1/3 for savings and 1/3 for the community, and teaching children to learn how to save and learn how to give to the community. Mm-hmm. As I said, I don't know anybody that does that. I hope that there are, but we're in such a consumer society right now that the idea of your children having money in their hands for more than an hour is kind of optimistic. I mean, I'm talking about any age, frankly, mm-hmm. Because there's all these things that are available that they feel are absolutely essential. And so it's, I don't think the message gets through that way. I think it takes probably more parent involvement rather than being the bookkeeper or the enforcer. And there are other ways, taking your children to various charities, taking, like I mentioned, Sacred Heart, community services, just to go down there and be on the premises and seeing the people coming in and going is an indelible message. Mm-hmm. There are lots of other communities activities around like that, mm-hmm. The food bank and all these other basic services at that level. Mm-hmm. Taking them to arts organizations and our museums in town, and explaining to them that this is done largely by voluntary donations from people in the community. Mm-hmm. and then telling them what particularly point out that you can give money there and so forth.